Hey everybody, Scout Crafty here again. It's Mishmash Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. Those weekends do go fast, don't they? Even for me. Even when every day's a weekend, they still go fast on the weekend. Got a couple things to talk about today, but first of all, I want to start off with this cool tool that I bought, a broken tool. And I bought it specifically because it was broken. Now, why would you do something like that? Let's check it out. Now, if you remember not too long ago, both Ben, the tool addict, and I did these crate tools. It's kind of an axe. It's an all-purpose tool. It's got an axe, a hammer, a nail puller, and it has forks up here. And, you know, when I did mine, I said, how cool would this be? I never liked those forks on the top. I think it kind of threw off the look of the tool. And I always said, boy, I would love to get one of these and cut the forks off and make it into kind of a custom hatchet, but it's hard to do. It's hard to take a perfectly good tool and start chopping it up, even for me, especially when some of these are rare and expensive. A lot of these go for big money, and I don't know why. But this one here I saw advertised with a broken, and I don't even think they knew it was broken, but it was broken. I said, geez, this is just what I want. And I said, and it's got some writing here on what the name is. We'll have to check that out because I can't really make it out now. But I thought, how great would this be to, cut this off. And it's got a little bit of a bow to it. We'll put that in a dake, straighten that out. You see that? It's right about here. We'll straighten that out. And let's take a look at the shape, This should be a fun project. It's not beat on too bad. We don't have too many chips around the edge here, but there are some. We'll take care of that. And first thing first, let's just see what the name is on here before we start. We'll take it to the wire brush. Okay, here's our post-wire brush evaluation. Now, we only do with the wire brush, we're only going to do the parts we can't get in, with the, like in here, we can't get in there with the sanding disc. So that's why we do this with the wire brush. We also found out the name. Obviously, it is a Bridgeport. You could see here, the Bridgeport Manufacturing Company. They were out of Connecticut, Bridgeport, Connecticut. This is their number 88, and it's also stamped down here, Forged Steel B, Tomahawk. You can see there, the good chance we'll lose that because of, it's not really too deep, and it also is surrounded by pitting, like all is around here. We're going to get a little aggressive on this, but first let's straighten it out because there is that little bow, and that's kind of annoying, so we'll straighten that out. Okay, here we are, everybody's favorite, the dake. And let's take a look here at the setup. It's a very simple setup, and let me describe it to you. Now, some people might wonder why I have these steel plates sitting on top of the shelf here, and that's because you really, whenever you can avoid having this ram travel down too far, it's always a good idea. You want to keep that as close to the top as you can, just for, for good operations. And, there's no sense in pumping all the way to get that thing all the way down. So what I do is I raise it up as much as I can. 2 small pieces of wood there to stop any scratching. Remember, we got to push right here. It's bent right here. So we'll put that right under here like that. And then we'll push it down here and press it onto that. Now, normally, if this was already finished or wire brushed or something like that, then I would put a piece of wood on top of it so that I wouldn't scratch it, but I don't have to worry about that because we're in the beginning here. So let me get you down to give you an eye level view, see what it looks like. Okay, here we are at the eye level view, and you can see, like I said, here's where we're pumping the ram down. We're going to take a look. I'm looking through the camera just like you are, and I'm going to see how far we have to bend this. It shouldn't be too far. Just here, just a little bit, and then we'll raise it up. Not even, we have 2 tons on there. Some will stretch back a little bit. And again, we don't raise the ram all the way up. And we take a look here and we see how we're doing as far as how straight it is. And remember, we kind of hold it this way. Okay, get that to the camera. So, boy, that's looking pretty damn straight, huh? First time. It's always nice when you get the first time that it works. Now, there aren't too many times that I opt to wear a face shield, but on top of my safety goggles and my breathing protection, but that's what I'll be wearing when I'm using one of these cutoff discs. And the simple reason is because these are very fragile and they can. That's why you have to make sure you have your guard on. I put on a pair of gloves, and I'll be working it this way and cutting. And it's always good to go through what you're going to do before you actually start cutting to make sure that you can move and that it's comfortable, and then gear up with your safety gear. Now you can see here the tip is a little bit damaged, so what we're going to do is we're going to take it back a little bit, get rid of all these chips. Progress so far after an hour or so with just the flap disc. You can see here we got in the areas that we wanted to. Obviously this is going to be painted, so you kind of leave that alone. As you know, you can't get in there anyway with a disc, but you can see what we did. It looks pretty good. You see what we did with the edge. See that edge there? Now you remember how chopped up it was, and so now we have a new edge to start with, and then we will taper it down, but we'll use the belt sander for that. And again, we don't want this to be super sharp as far as a sharpening axe, but and we were able to keep some. And again, I don't know if we're going to lose some of this, the writing, but we lost some up here. But you know, that's the way you have it when you want to do something that looks nice. Okay, next up, while we figure out what we want to do with the handle, the insert or whatever, let's talk a little bit about what I was telling you last week about ball drivers, ball screwdrivers. Let's check it out. Got a couple to show you. There are a ton of tools that have been reinvented, and probably not so much as the screwdriver. And when it comes to screwdrivers, you know, the tips are one thing, but handles. There are literally thousands of different style handles that they have been reintroducing and reinventing the screwdriver to try and get a more comfortable, more ergonomic handle. And here are just a small sample of different types, you know, that and these is fairly modern screwdrivers. This here is a Chinese knockoff of a German style, but this is a very comfortable, and the way you can really tell, the way I would design a screwdriver handle is I would take a handful of wet paper towel and squeeze it in my hand, and then look at what it looks like, and that would give you kind of an idea of what it would look like. And you know, and then also what you're used to. You see these kind of curved handles here. This is kind of more modern ergonomic style because it's smaller up front, has a bulbous area here, and a smooth back that, you know, will fit in your hand. But everybody has their own preferences, you know. So it all depends on what you like. But years ago, they came out with the ball driver in an attempt to hit a new market niche. Now, although the ball-shaped screwdriver is not a new invention, in 1973, a gentleman by the name of Carlton Whiteford, he was out of Westport, Connecticut, he invented this ratcheting screwdriver. And as you could see here by the patent, it was not a non-complicated ratcheting system, and that's why, because of the system being a little bit on the complicated side, he went with the simple system of reversing the ball from one side to the other and not having to reverse the ratcheting. It's a very strong system. It was lightweight. It was a comfortable ball, and you can see here it says Easy Driver on one side with the patent number. On the other side it says Creative Tools, and they were out of Bennington, Vermont, the company. Now, it would come in a kit, and the kit would have a few different things. One of the things, it would have a few different accessories here, and you could hear the ratcheting. And it was quite smooth, and it was very ergonomic. Like I said, had nice grips on here, and believe it or not, they're fun to use. With the kit, sometimes they came with smaller ball drivers. The same type here, you can see Easy Driver, again, in Bennington, Vermont, Creative Tools. And you can see how these work, the same system, same ratcheting. And again, you would reverse it. Now with these, they had little inserts that were placed over the accessories, like the screwdrivers, these square inserts, so that you can insert them into here. Later on, they came out with another type of unit here, which had two sides. You had a Phillips on one side and a straight shaft on the other side, a slotted screw driver, but it had, these were pressed in, they weren't removable, but you would press it into here and had the same ratcheting. Now, there was aftermarket ones came out soon after, because they were the popularity. You remember in about 76, these things became real popular. They were in Popular Mechanics, Popular Science, Field and Stream, and that's when the knockoffs started. Some of the knockoffs were made in the United States, like these Pratt Reed type, and you can see here they're very similar. They're made in the U.S., and they had a very nice ratcheting system, just like the other ones, but they were yellow and black usually, and they did come in the bigger size too. The difference here, you didn't need the insert here. This, they ground down the shaft here with a ball detent, and that's what would hold it into the one side or the other. These are still available, by the way, in new old stock on eBay. And then obviously the one I had here, this was a made in Taiwan, but very nice, a little loud, but very smooth. And that, goes to show you with the ratcheting screwdrivers, the key is, especially when if you're dealing with machine screws, you needed a ratcheting system that was smooth enough that you could, back off without turning the screw backwards. If the ratcheting system was too tight, it really wouldn't work. Example of a superior ratcheting system for like machine work or screw work like that. If you're dealing with a wood screw, there's always going to be some resistance, but with a machine screw, sometimes not so much. This was given to me by my good buddy Abe Elias up in, the knife maker up in Canada, and Abe sent this over because listen to this. This has a ratcheting bearing. There's no clicking. You hear that? And look how smooth that is. So I mean, this is absolutely phenomenal as far as ratcheting goes. And then you would just turn this the other way to ratchet the other way. Just unbelievable. And this is the newer system, the newer type ratcheting, and it's obviously much more superior as far as no drag. So you don't have to worry about the screw going back and forth. Now, in the last couple of years, ball screwdrivers have made a comeback once again, and Vessel, a great company out of Japan, has made a few different ball-type screwdrivers, as you can see here. This here is this is non-ratcheting these, but they do make them in a ratcheting version, and they're economical. This is like about $7, and you can get them in different configurations. This one here is one that comes in a set of 3 with this, but what's nice about this, if you listen, there's no rattle on the tip, so it performs like a solid screwdriver. There's no slack or sloppiness in here. And Vessel is a fantastic company, but this is a newer type ball drivers, again, very ergonomic in the hand to use. So as you can see, ball drivers have been around for a long time, and it seems like they will be around for a long time. Interesting concept. I was introduced to Vessel screwdrivers by a good friend of the show by the name of Brian Little from Marion, Iowa. And ever since then, I've been a big fan of their products. They make really good stuff. So check them out. And again, thanks, Brian. Next up, let's see what we can do with the handle of today's project. This is a little bit more difficult than it looks, I mean, what we want to do is we want to maybe put some lightning holes in here, we could always cover it with scales if you want to put wooden scales in, but either way, you have to put holes in. But, we'll give it a try with the lightning holes. And why I say it's difficult is because, you see, this bows out. So to try and get a center line, we had to get it perfectly straight center line right down the middle. You see that thin line there that we scribed? And how we did it, we put a little dot centered in the front, a little dot centered here. We took a straight edge, you could see here, and we leaned it over here, and then took Randy Richards' awesome carbide scribe down a line. Now we just have to determine what holes we want to put where. We'd like to probably put larger holes in the middle, tapering down. So we're going to try and lay them out now. Now, you know my favorite part. Remember what this Bridgeport Tomahawk looked like before we started. And we're calling this project done. Had a lot of fun with this one because we could do whatever we wanted because of the fact that it was broken to begin with. We were able to keep a good amount of the writing on here. You could see there. You could still make it out there, the Bridgeport Hardware Company. And the model was 88. It was their Tomahawk. Okay, you could see here their Tomahawk. And we did this in a candy green. And you can see here, what we did here was we spaced out these holes from large to small. And that came, you know, that's much harder than it looks, believe it or not, to get those spaced right and to get that color just the way I wanted. And it just looks nice. It's like a candy green. Polished everything out. That is pretty close to a mirror polish, isn't it? And it just, you know, like I said, and look at the top here. Remember? Now, this is that piece that was broken. You would never know it. I like the look. I like the look of a regular kind of a hatchet, you know? Don't you think it looks good without that kind of long tongue sticking out of there? I'm sure that tongue was useful, but I just like it. And, you know, I'm going to call this my Buck Rogers Tomahawk because that looks like something from the future, right? Or from the past, Buck Rogers. Now, one thing I wanted to point out, first of all, we did the back up nice like we always like to do, right? That always comes out beautiful. But I wanted to point out about these holes is that how we drill them is we use a unibit, okay? And this is an Irwin unibit step drill. And these things are fantastic. And I've had this for many years. And what happens is when you drill through here, if you go a little bit further, it gives you the countersink or that you see that little shiny silver. So when you spray it, it'll come out all whatever color you spray it. But to get that shiny countersink again, you got to re-drill it. Just touch it with the unibit once again. And that'll give you that nice look. That really pops, you know. So you have to do it twice. You have to drill out the hole first, spray it, and then touch it again to get that countersink to clean it up. So in closing, I feel you can have a lot of fun with obviously really rusty or broken tools because you got nowhere to go but up, right? You can't get it any worse. Although I have, I think, on occasion. But anyway, thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you have a great day. Take care now. Bye-bye.